What's going on, family? It's your boy, Man Down Zoe, co-host of Man Down Sports Full Panel Friday. And it's Friday, so make sure y'all locked in with us later on today. Well, it's Friday early in the morning for me, but by the time y'all see this, it'll probably be like midday or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, it's your boy, Man Down Zoe, back with another Bird's Eye View podcast. As you can see from the basketball that's glowing behind me, we talking hoops today. We talking about my Atlanta Hawks and their most recent outing is the first thing that we're going to talk about, namely the number one overall pick in their most recent outing. Zaccharie Risacher is how you say that name, in a draft class where he's the number one overall pick. But the draft class overall didn't excite many people. It didn't have a whole bunch of headlines or a bunch of can't miss prospects weren't in there, at least from the naked eye, and from the, that's the consensus that there were some good players, maybe no great players in there. But at the end of the day, Zaccharie Risacher put the league on notice, at least. 33-point game, 33 points, as you can see from the lower third. 33 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. The most important stat to me, of course, no turnovers with all of that action. 6 for 10 from 3 as well. I don't have that up there, but I know he shot 60% from 3. His shot was struggling early in games, but he never stopped shooting in the games prior to this one. And finally, it looked, that some of those reps paid off. We're gonna look at some of the highlights actually, real quick, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes of the highlights. And then we're going to see exactly what he did well, what he can work on. We're going to talk about a couple of things. As you can see from the rundown as well, we're going to talk about a few more things before we get y'all out of here. But before we do that, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the Bird's Eye View podcast, especially if you are a fan of these two teams and even if you are a hater of these two teams. Also, go over there to Man Down Sports and all my guys and gals over there. We all got our own platform going, but Man Down Sports, if you subscribe to that, we'll direct you to all the other podcasts that we are part of. So, yeah, man, let's not stop wasting time, bro. Let's get right into it. I'm gonna add this to the stage. We're gonna look at some of these highlights, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. Gonna fake the screen and relocate. Ooh, good play. Good play, Quinn Snyder. No hesitation on this shot. Trae coming off the screen, always finds the corner. Zach, no hesitation once again. Yeah. Notice his shots are hitting bottom of the net. He is a 6'10 guy. Oh, good defense. That could have been an and one, too. Let's see. Gary Bird, a.k.a. Garrison Matthews, goes up. Oh, yeah. Definitely could have been a foul call. Keaton Wallace bringing it up. He sets the screen, slips it a little bit, comes back. Oh, way to go back door. Good find, Onyeka. Way to go back door for Risacher. That's basketball IQ stuff. This kid is 19. Boom. Catches it, head fake. Boom. Drives. Good shot. Good shot. I would have wanted him to be a little bit more physical, but that'll come in time. Go straight at him. Boom. Another 3 from the corner. Okay. Oh, defensive end. He's long. Pause. Wait, pull it out on a break? Oh, that's how you know you're feeling it right there. That's how you know. Feeling it. Boom. Plays the lanes. Josh Hart comes, does the right thing, keeps him from getting straight to the cup. He goes back and say, okay, you don't want me at the cup? I'll shoot this 3. Trae's like, that's my style right there. Boom, loose ball. Let's see what he got going. He's shot ready. Hands was ready. He knew he feeling it. Hands was ready to shoot it, and everybody loving it. JJ going to the cup. Find him in the corner. Okay, now at some point, Tibbs is going to have to say, we got to guard this guy. He was wide open in the corner again. He comes, sets the screen. They kick it to the corner. He's on the glass. He does a little bit of everything. Boom. Way to stay vertical on that contest on Karl Anthony Towns. Perfect play. Boom. Head fake. Middle game. Okay. That is something that I definitely love seeing from a wing player. Middle game, floater with the right in the lane. After the head fake, yeah, man. I like what I see. I like what I saw before this, though. A lot of people going to look at the point outing, and of course, it's great. It's 33 points on 60% shooting from the field. Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of people going to pay attention to the point outing and be like, yeah, man, this dude he's like that. He's finally coming around, but the thing that you have to know is that if you're watching these games, you see the potential, whether his shot was falling or not. We'll get into that a little bit more with Jalen Johnson as well, but you can see that this guy is not someone who is just going to be one-dimensional. He's guarding multiple positions. He's on the glass. He had 7 boards. He's in the passing lanes with 3 steals. I think he might have had a block too, 3 assists, so he can get other people involved and make the play. He does whatever you need. You need guys like that on the team. Whether he'll be a star, I think he has all the tools to be a star, and he's a guy that is going to thrive between guys like Trae Young and Jalen Johnson, who are natural playmakers. So I'm really, really happy for Zach. Resize, what we calling him on Twitter over there, but I'm definitely happy to see that he is putting together some NBA games where people are really starting to take notice, and against a formidable opponent. Now, keep in mind, the Knicks, they made that big trade for Cat. They didn't do that to not be contenders. So when they get a chance to face off against a contending team or a potentially contending team, for them to show the grit and the grind that they play. Trae didn't particularly play well, shoot the ball well in the beginning of the game, but Trae's going to always find a way to get his 20-point, 10 double-double as he did again this time. I don't think I got his stats up, but I know he had a 20-point double-double with assists, of course. JJ had a bunch of assists as well. And I think he had a double-double too. But the story, of course, is Zach, man. I think this kid, the potential is through the roof. When you got a guy that's 6'10" and willing to defend, decent feet, decent athleticism, and he can shoot the ball, creation will come with time. Strength will come with time. But the foundation is there. It looked like the Hawks hit because Alex Sarr was the consensus number 1 for a very long time before, maybe I would say probably about 2 weeks before the draft. Alex Sarr was the consensus number 1. Of course, he had the rumors, quote unquote, that he didn't want to come to Atlanta, which is fine. But as we can see, at least early on, it looks like the Hawks may have got the better of that because I've seen Alex Sarr games and he has a long way to go. Not saying he won't live up to the potential, but right now it's just potential. He has a long way to go, the learning curve. I don't know how long it's going to be. But either way it goes, man, salute to Zach. Hope you have more games like that. Today's Friday, so I think we got a game today. I definitely want maybe tuning in, maybe do some post-game stuff live for that, depending on what people put in the comments and what people let me know. But make sure you are commenting, and subscribing on all these videos and my shorts. The more you do that, the more I go in the algorithm. The more I go in the algorithm, the more people see it. The more people see it, the more subscribers I get. The more subscribers I get, the more content I deliver. That's how that's going to work. All right, man, moving on. We're going to go down to this backcourt that I haven't discussed at all this season, and that is Trae Young and Dyson Daniels. As you can see from the lower third, I say Trae Young and Dyson Daniels backcourt is an elite pairing, and it is because the styles contrast so much. They're like yin and yang. You got Trae Young, offensive dynamo, not really long pause, not really doesn't have the length to defend a lot of the big guards. Just has to be kind of scrappy, which he has been this year. I can give him credit for that. Even last year as well, his defense has steadily improved, but he's not a guy that's ever going to be a lockdown defender just because his physical limitations. But as you can see, look at his stats, still being Trae Young. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists a game on 50% shooting, 35 from 3. That has to go up because he takes a lot of them. And I know his turnovers were kind of bad this season. But one thing I can see from Trae Young is that his defensive commitment is there. He's diving on the floor. He's going after steals. He's jumping in front of charges. He's doing a lot of things that can make him at least a pesky defender. And I think a lot of that credit goes to Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels did not have a great offensive game against the Knicks, but what he did do was he followed Jalen Brunson around and annoyed him for the entire game. Like his defensive, his perimeter defense, his point of attack defense is elite to the point to where it's almost like Trae Young in a sense, because whatever Dyson gives me on defense whatever Dyson gives me on offense, it's just an added bonus. If he's making his shot at a 30%, 35% clip from deep, and he can get to the cup like he's shown the ability to do every once in a while and hit the catch and shoot shot or find somebody else, that's just icing on the cake because he's going to strap somebody pause at the other end. He's going to guard. He's going to guard your best perimeter player, and he's going to defend him with so much tenacity, anticipating stealing. You can't even do a dribble handoff by this guy. Like, he is a tenacious defender, and I think a lot of people was able to see it this past summer when he was playing for the Australian Olympic team, and it's translated. Defense is about effort and want to a lot of times, and it's easily transferable if you commit to it. Clearly, he's committed to it, and I think this is the backcourt that they were searching for when they traded for DeJounte Murray. He had the reputation as a point of attack defender and a guy that can score the ball and get people involved as well. Dyson has the same reputation. However, I think DJ is more of a scorer, facilitator, point guard, while Dyson can take over some of the playmaking duties, but he's primarily a two-guard defender, defense first. Whatever comes on the offensive end, that's great. But yeah, it pairs perfectly with Trae Young, who's an offensive dynamo. And, you know, with Risa being in the starting lineup, because DeAndre Hunter is hurt again for whatever injury this is this time. It's probably those knees. It fits perfectly. They got a lot of, and I don't know how politically correct this is, but they got a bunch of mixed dudes on the Hawks. Like Trae Young, mixed dude, black and white. Dyson Daniels, I think he might be mixed as well. Risacher definitely mixed, and he's French. Jalen Johnson mixed. They got these light skinned brothers. They trying to run. They trying to run the light skinned brigade down there in Atlanta, and it seemed like it's gonna be working because you got guys. Trae Young's not that old. He's been in the league for 7 years, but he only spent 1 year at college, so he's 8 years removed from high school. You know, he's still young. Jalen Johnson is still young. Dyson Daniels, I believe, is 22, 23. Of course, Risacher is 19. The future is bright when it comes to Atlanta. If they keep this core together with Trae Young leading the pack and the pieces they're starting to finally put around him, I think it'll definitely be a backcourt that'll be reckoned with because you got to guard Dyson Daniels now. Trae Young is going to make his teammates better. And with Dyson Daniels in the backcourt with him, defending a lot of these point guards, I think it's going to make for a great pairing. I think it's going to make for a pairing that's going to kind of catapult the Hawks into possibly being a 6 seed if they get everybody healthy this year, where they don't have to deal with the play-in. But the East is pretty tough this year, so we'll see. I spoke a little bit earlier about Jaylen Johnson. And just like Risacher, his shot early on wasn't falling like it was supposed to, like he had planned on it. But I think I saw an interview the other day where he said Quinn Snyder told him, do not predicate your game simply off of whether the ball is going into the basket or not, because you mean so much more to this team. And that is exactly what Jaylen Johnson needs to hear. He is such a unique player in the fact that he's 6'9" with a strong build, uber athletic guy who also has court vision. As you can see from his stats in the lower third, 19 points basically a game, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, double-double guy, 20 and 10 guy starting to turn into 20, 10, and 5. I think the only guys averaging 18, 10, and 5 in the league are Jokic. Who else is it? Maybe Luka, somebody else, Giannis and Jalen Johnson. So elite company for him. He's making the leap definitely because he's just doing anything that is needed. Defending multiple positions, rebounding the basketball on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, finding people in the lane. He's always had that talent ever since he's coming out of high school of being a facilitator. The three-point shot is starting to come along, which we saw improvements last year. I think he might have shot 35 last year. Early on, it kind of wasn't falling, but it didn't look bad. A couple of times he may have hesitated, but the shot didn't look bad. It looked comfortable for him. And as long as he doesn't hesitate, I don't have a problem whether it goes in or not, because you have to be a threat from out there to make everything else work. But yeah, man, Jaylen Johnson is definitely making the leap. I think he should have been in the conversation for most improved last year, but I think he got hurt, missed a number of games that you had to have in order to be considered for any of those postseason awards. But this year is definitely going to be on the radar. This year, All-Star is on the radar, in my opinion. I think he can be that second best player next to Trae Young and be that safety valve for Trae Young, because you know what they're going to do to Trae Young. They're going to swarm him off those screening rolls once he gets to rolling. They're going to double team him and force him to make the pass and have someone else beat him. And I think Jaylen Johnson is the perfect guy for that, along with the other pieces that we have, because Jaylen Johnson can make the play for himself and make the play for others. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what he does this year, but I'm predicting All-Star for Jalen Johnson. I'm predicting All-Star, and I'm predicting a all defensive team for Dyson Daniels. Health, of course, having to be in order. But yeah, man, I think these guys definitely are going to make the leap, and they're going to surprise some people with how good they are as early as it is, because I think they got a little bit of everything. Trae's the vet now. Capella's still on the team, which we'll get to in a minute. But they got a lot of young guys. Larry Nance is a great vet off the bench. Yeah, man. So I think the Hawks are going to surprise some people, and I think Jaylen Johnson in particular is going to surprise some people, because I still feel like people kind of forgot about him after high school. Him coming out of Duke, being at Duke briefly, I should say, only to sit out and prepare for the draft. He fell in the draft. He probably was a consensus number one had he stayed. He falls down to 19. The Hawks snatch him up. Nate McMillan commits a sinister crime by benching this guy for the first 2.5 years, basically. And of course, the third year, Quinn comes in after a couple of different coaches and says why this guy isn't playing is a mystery to me. Also with Jaylen Johnson, he got paid this offseason. So I think that a lot of the shooting woes come from, when you get that check, you want to live up to it. You want to make people feel like they have a quick return on their investment. But because of the fact that he, started shooting slow, I think people were kind of like, oh no, people don't know whether Jaylen Johnson can be the whoop wop de bang. Nah, that guy is like that. He's like that, and the more comfortable he gets being that number 2 option and having the ball in his hands that much, I think he'll show people that he's like that, and I think he'll make an all-star team this year, considering it all depends on whether the Hawks record is decent enough to do that. And a lot of that depends on who our starting center is. Onyeka Okongwu, he's in year 4, I believe. I think we picked up the option on him, if I'm not mistaken. And going into the offseason, I honestly thought that he would be the guy that would automatically be our starting center. But as you can see, once again, Clint Capella starting at 5, game 1 and every game that he's been available. Onyeka, I think he did have a couple starts because Clint was out, but everybody on the Hawks has missed time except for Trae and I think Jalen. I think everybody has sat out a game or 2 at least. We got 5 people down. Kobe Buffkin hasn't seen a game. I think Bogey played a little bit in the preseason, but Bogey's going to be out for at least another 3 weeks. Who else we got? Kobe Buffkin, shoulder. Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter is always hurt. Vic Krejci was playing the backup point guard position. He got hurt. So the Hawks are fighting the injury bug. I believe Dyson missed a couple of days too. But yeah, man, as long as we have Onyeka on the bench, it's going to be like, when is he going to be the starter? We drafted him number 6. Like, what do we bring him in that high for? I don't think it's just to be a career backup. And I know CC has been in the league for a long time. I think the versatility that Onyeka brings, it's an easy answer, yes, when it comes to the offensive end. Now, the only problem that people have seem to have an issue with when it comes to Double O is rebounding. He's not an aggressive rebounder, but I think that the things that he does well. I think he's an excellent weak side defender. While he's not the biggest guy, he's still an excellent weak side defender. Good athlete as well. Tough. And he's strong enough to contend with a lot of guys. So when it comes to him starting, I think that for the benefit of the Hawks' chemistry, I think he should be the starting 5. I think the starting 5, honestly, should be Trae, Dyson, Zach, Jalen, and O. I think that should be our starting 5. I think if you have that and we are a fully healthy team, that means you have Kobe Buffkin, Bogdanovich, and DeAndre Hunter coming off the bench. At the 4, who you going to play? You can play Nance. You can play David Roddy, who's getting minutes now early. You can play Mo Gay if he's ready. and we still got guys like Seth Lundy and Vic Krejci, Keaton Wallace, Gary Bird, when it comes to that 2 spot that Bogey takes up. Like, we have the depth if we're healthy. So I think that should definitely be the starting 5. I think O should have been in the starting lineup from the beginning. Clint is an excellent big to have off the bench. You know exactly what you're going to get with Clint. You're going to get some rim running. You can get a little bit of rim protection. Sometimes he misses a lot of bunnies, but he's going to rebound. He's going to defend. He's going to rim run. Offensively, he doesn't have versatility that O has. O can, score down low from the mid range. He has a float game now. He's shooting that 3 comfortably in the corner. So I think that, offensively, he's the guy that we definitely need to put in that starting lineup just to make the offense look like something and be a threat. Nobody's threatened by Clint Capella. Honestly, he's a guy, exactly what you're going to get from Clint Capella. Not saying you don't need it, but he's not going to be the difference maker on this team that we need in order to, make it to the next level, that 6 seed, those playoffs that we want to make it to, especially with no draft picks coming up. So we need to consider putting O in that starting lineup. And if we talk about trading Clint even, I would be with that because, his time has come and gone with us. As far as being our starting center. It's time for the new regime. It's time for the young guys. I think Trae would be the oldest guy in that starting lineup that I spoke on before, but I think it's time for it. I think the Hawks don't need to mess around with this team. I think the longer you keep Capella out there, I think you kind of limit yourself offensively as to what you can do, even though the Hawks every year always have a good offense because they have a Trae Young. They have a Trae Young. So they're going to have good offense every single year. The defense is starting to improve. I honestly think O is a better positional defender than Capella is. He may not be a better shot blocker or rim protector per se, but he can protect the rim. But I think as far as guarding the center position, he can move his feet well. You're not going to fool him. You're not just going to bump him back, and you can't just bully him in the post because he's strong enough, and he's going to work hard. So while the rebounding may be a concern, I think the team should be rebounding, and the team has been rebounding. Zach had 7. Jalen had 10. Trae had 5. I think he might be averaging 5. If everybody rebounds, O's rebounding won't be such a focal point. And I think that, it'll open up that offense and have guys that can really, really run the floor, switch defensively around Trae Young, and he can get them all going offensively. So, yeah, man, that's all the time I got right now. I've been doing this for 22 minutes. It wasn't even supposed to be that long, but I got to talking and running my mouth. I appreciate you guys. Once again, I want you to like, comment, subscribe, share the Bird's Eye View podcast for all Atlanta sports, especially Hawks and Falcons, of course. Man, and like I said earlier, today, Friday. It's Friday, so that means full panel Friday on Man Down Sports tonight, 7:30. If you ain't there, where you at? What you doing? You ain't got nothing else to do. It's Friday. You ain't got no job. Hey man, come join us on Man Down Sports, and of course all the affiliate channels with Man Down Sports. We got Sideline Speaks, we got Sports Tea, we got Kingdom Come, we got Motor City Roar, we got Bird's Eye View, we got Therapeutic Rap. We got so much content for you guys. Why aren't you subscribed to all of us? Why don't you hit that notification bell either? Do that too. It's your boy Man Down Zoe, checking in, checking out. Peace.